Every bus type explained. School bus. Before any other bus on this list existed in the life of most people, there was this one. The school bus is the first vehicle most children ever ride without a parent beside them. And the engineering behind that moment of independence is more deliberate than it appears. In the United States alone, school buses carry 26 million children every day, more than all other forms of public and private transport combined. The yellow color is not aesthetic. It was selected in 1939 because the human eye detects it faster in peripheral vision than any other color at dawn and dusk, precisely the hours when children are moving between home and school in low-light conditions. The body sits high off the ground, so drivers of surrounding vehicles can see children moving around it. The seats are designed to compartmentalize impact in a collision rather than rely on seat belts. A principle called compartmentalization that uses the seat in front as a padded barrier rather than a restraint system. Every visible decision about a school bus was made by someone asking what happens when something goes wrong and engineering the answer before the question became necessary. It is the most regulated bus in existence and statistically one of the safest vehicles on any road. The children riding it rarely know any of this. That is exactly the point. City bus. The city bus is so ordinary it has become invisible. A remarkable achievement for a vehicle performing one of civilization's most essential functions. It runs the same route every day, stops at the same corners, opens its doors to whoever is waiting, regardless of where they are going or how far they can afford to travel. A standard city bus carries between 60 and 80 passengers, runs on a schedule calibrated to the rhythm of the city around it, and in a well-functioning transit system arrives frequently enough that checking the timetable feels unnecessary. The engineering is optimized for one thing above all others: the stop. Low floors that drop to curb level for wheelchair access, wide doors that open simultaneously, front and rear to move passengers in both directions at once, grab rails positioned for standing passengers who board before a seat is available. Every feature of a city bus exists to minimize the time it spends not moving, because a bus that spends too long at each stop falls behind schedule. And a bus behind schedule becomes a bus nobody relies on. Cities that invest in frequent, reliable city bus service find that ridership follows. Not because buses became more comfortable, but because they became dependable. Shuttle bus. The shuttle bus does one thing. It moves people between two fixed points repeatedly on a loop that never changes. Airport to terminal, hotel to theme park, parking structure to stadium, car rental facility to arrivals hall. The route is short, the frequency is high, the passengers are transient, and the operation is optimized for one metric above all others: turnaround time. A shuttle bus that takes too long to load, too long to travel, or too long to return is a shuttle bus that creates a queue. And a queue is a failure. The entire operation is measured by wide doors, minimal seating, and some configurations to maximize standing capacity. Simple interiors that clean quickly between cycles. The shuttle bus is not designed for comfort over distance. It is designed for throughput over a short loop, repeated as many times per hour as the route and traffic allow. At major airports, fleets of dozens of shuttle buses run continuously through the night, invisible to most travelers until the one they needed fails to appear. When they work, nobody notices. When they stop working, everything stops with them. Minibus. Not every route justifies a full-size bus. Some neighborhoods are too dense and too narrow for a large vehicle to navigate without damaging parked cars or mounting pavements. Some communities are too small for a standard bus to serve without running 3/4 empty on every trip. Some operators need a vehicle that can reach the places the transit network never extended to. The minibus fills every one of these gaps, typically seating between 8 and 30 passengers, light enough to navigate streets that would defeat a full-size vehicle, economical enough to run on routes that could never sustain larger operations. In West Africa, the minibus became the primary form of urban transport. Privately operated, flexible in its routing, filling the gap left by formal transit systems that never materialized. In rural Japan, community minibuses serve villages that rail and standard bus networks bypassed entirely. In tourist destinations worldwide, the minibus shuttles passengers between sites with the flexibility that larger vehicles cannot offer. It is the smallest bus on this list, and in many parts of the world the most important one, because it serves the people and the places that everything larger decided were not worth the effort. Guided bus. The guided bus occupies a space between a bus and a train that most people do not realize exists. It runs on a dedicated guideway, a specially constructed concrete channel or rail system that steers the vehicle automatically while the driver manages speed and braking. On the guideway, it moves with the precision and frequency of a rail vehicle. Passengers boarding at level platforms. The vehicle arriving and departing on a schedule that road traffic cannot disrupt. Off the guideway, it drives as a conventional bus, navigating normal roads to reach neighborhoods and destinations that a fixed rail system would never extend to. Cambridge and England operates one of the most established guided busways in the world. Its concrete guideway running through corridors too narrow for conventional road traffic, connecting communities that neither bus nor train served adequately before it existed. The guided bus is the transit solution for cities that need the reliability of rail but cannot justify the cost of laying tracks everywhere the route needs to go. It is a compromise in the best sense, taking the best characteristic of two different systems and combining them into something neither system could achieve alone. Double-decker bus. London made it iconic, but the double-decker bus belongs to the world. Now, the logic is elegant in its simplicity. When a city's roads are too congested to add more buses, and the demand for capacity keeps rising, the answer is not to make the bus wider. It is to make it taller. 2 full decks of seating, 1 driver, 1 road footprint, nearly twice the passenger capacity of a single-deck vehicle. The upper deck became its own experience. Elevated above street level, the city visible from an angle that ground floor passengers never get. The front seats of the upper deck acquiring the status of prime real estate on every school run and tourist route that ever operated them. Modern double-deckers are engineering achievements beyond their appearance. Low-emission or fully electric drivetrains managing the raised center of gravity that 2 decks create. Active suspension systems keeping the vehicle stable on corners that its height would otherwise make treacherous. Hong Kong runs them on steep hillside routes. Singapore uses them as the backbone of its bus network. The original open-top routemaster that defined London streets for decades is now a heritage vehicle replaced by modern equivalents that are safer, cleaner, and carry more passengers. The silhouette remains the same. The engineering behind it has never stopped improving. Amphibious Bus. Every other bus on this list stays on the road. The amphibious bus drives off it, specifically into the water. A sealed hole beneath the standard bus body allows it to float. A propeller at the rear providing propulsion once the wheels leave the ground. It drives down a boat ramp, enters the water, transitions from road vehicle to vessel in seconds, and crosses whatever waterway the tour route requires before climbing back onto land on the far side. Amphibious buses operate as tourist attractions in cities with significant rivers or harbors. London, Amsterdam, Singapore, Boston, where the combination of road and water travel creates an experience that neither a standard bus tour nor a boat tour can replicate alone. The engineering required to make a vehicle that is simultaneously structurally sound as a road vehicle and watertight as a floating vessel is more demanding than it appears. The seals, the hull integrity, the transition between drive systems, each requires engineering solutions that a standard bus never needs. The amphibious bus carries fewer passengers than its land-only equivalents, moves more slowly on water than a dedicated vessel would, and costs significantly more to build and maintain. None of that matters to the passengers on the upper deck as it enters the river. The novelty earns its place every time. Coach bus. The city bus solves the problem of moving people through a city. The coach bus solves the problem of moving people between cities. And it does so with a completely different philosophy. Where the city bus is optimized for stops, the coach is optimized for distance. Reclining seats with generous legroom. Luggage bays beneath the floor deep enough for a week's travel. Air conditioning calibrated for hours of operation rather than minutes. Onboard restrooms on longer routes. A ride height that places passengers above the roofline of surrounding traffic. The landscape visible in a way that no car journey quite replicates. A coach covers 500 m in a day and arrives with passengers who feel, if not entirely rested, at least less diminished than the distance might suggest. The companies that operate them, Greyhound across America, Flixbus across Europe, countless operators across Asia and Africa, constitute a long-distance transport network that moves hundreds of millions of people annually across distances that rail cannot reach and air travel prices out. The coach bus is the democratic long-haul vehicle, the one that goes where the journey requires, regardless of whether an airport or a railway station was ever built there. Prison transport bus. Most buses are designed to move people who want to go somewhere. The prison transport bus is designed to move people who do not. Reinforced steel body, individual compartments that separate inmates from each other and from the driver. Security partitions that divide the vehicle into zones that can be independently controlled. The windows are narrow, high-mounted, and covered with mesh. The seating is fixed and uncushioned. Every design choice prioritizes containment and control over comfort, which is a design brief that produces a vehicle unlike anything else on this list. Some jurisdictions operate converted coaches with interior modifications. Others use purpose-built vehicles designed from the chassis up for secure transport. The challenge is maintaining security across a vehicle that is moving through public roads, stopping at traffic signals, navigating urban traffic like any other bus, while carrying passengers who may have every reason to attempt to change their situation. The prison transport bus is the bus that nobody wants to ride, engineered entirely around that fact. Armored bus. The armored bus begins as any other bus and ends as something that belongs in a different category entirely. Ballistic steel panels replace standard body panels. Blasters resistant flooring protects against devices placed beneath the vehicle. Windows are replaced with multi-layer polycarbonate glass capable of stopping rifle rounds. Run flat tire inserts allow the vehicle to continue moving after the tires are destroyed. Diplomatic missions, heads of state, military personnel in conflict zones, election observers in contested regions. Anyone whose movement through a hostile environment requires that the vehicle around them absorb what the environment delivers. Some armored buses are indistinguishable from standard coaches until the moment they need to be otherwise. Others are visibly fortified, the additional armor weight sitting on the suspension in a way that announces itself. Every kilogram of armor added is a kilogram of payload or performance removed. And finding the balance between protection and mobility is the engineering challenge that every armored bus represents. Sleeper bus. The coach bus moves people between cities during the day. The sleeper bus moves them through the night, and it does so by replacing seats with beds. Fully reclining pods, sometimes stacked too high in a configuration borrowed from train sleeping cars with privacy curtains, personal reading lights, and in premium configurations, individual climate control for each berth. India operates thousands of sleeper buses on overnight routes that span the subcontinent. In Southeast Asia, the overnight sleeper bus between major cities is often the practical choice over flying. Cheaper city center to city center and arriving at a time when a hotel room is ready. The engineering challenge is fitting the berths into a vehicle constrained by road width limits while maintaining enough structural integrity to meet safety standards written with seated passengers in mind. The sleeper bus turns the overnight trip into the most efficient use of time available. You travel while you sleep, and you arrive. Trolley bus. The trolley bus is electrically powered like the future demands, but draws that power from overhead wires like something from a century ago. Two poles extend from the roof of the vehicle to contact wires strung above the road, delivering current continuously as the bus moves along its route. No battery required, no charging stop needed, no range anxiety of any kind. As long as the wires are above it, the trolley bus runs indefinitely. What it cannot do is leave its wire. The route is defined not by a schedule that can be redrawn, but by infrastructure that cannot be moved without significant cost and disruption. Cities that invested in trolley bus networks decades ago, San Francisco, Minsk, Kyiv, have found them difficult to abandon and difficult to expand, locked in by the permanence of the overhead wire systems that make them work. Modern trolley buses partially solve this with small onboard batteries that allow brief wire-free operation for route deviations and terminal maneuvers.